14. It was an average night around 9 p.m. Me and my little cousin are at his house. I'm babysitting for the night while my mom and aunt are shopping and my dad and uncle are at the movie theater. We're sitting in the house and I was feeling really strange. Something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it, so I just kept watching TV with my cousin. However, the feeling wasn't going away, so I got up and walked to the back door to lock it. When I came back through the kitchen, I saw what was causing my weird feeling. In the window, there was a very decrepit and homeless-looking man, just staring into the window, looking at my cousin. I pretended like I didn't see the guy and told my little cousin that we needed to go upstairs because our parents would be home soon and they wouldn't want him to be up late. I went upstairs and put him to bed, knowing damn well that there was a man outside that wanted in. I was about 125 pounds and 5 feet 8 inches at the time, and I played football for my school. If I remember correctly, I went downstairs and straight into the kitchen and grabbed one of those meat tenderizing hammers and turned back to the window where I saw him before. He wasn't there. I ran back to the front door and checked that it was locked. Both the deadbolt and the knob were locked. I ran back upstairs with my meat tenderizer and went into my cousin's room and sat down in front of the door. He asked me what I was doing, and I said that he didn't need to worry about it and that he should keep his head low. I called the cops, and then my dad and uncle. The cops would take half an hour, and my dad and uncle were 45 minutes away. Then I hear a window shatter and the sound of heavy boots walking around on the main floor. I told my cousin to stay calm, hide under the covers, and to keep silent. I could hear the guy walking around downstairs. It was horrifying. I gripped that damn meat tenderizer and waited. About 5 minutes pass, and then I hear the boots walking upstairs. At this point, I was having a freaking heart attack. My cousin's door is no more than 10 feet from the stairs. I heard him opening the doors to my aunt and uncle's room, then the bathroom. He walked back downstairs, and I heard him open the door to the basement. 15 minutes later, the police showed up and burst into the house. Turned out the guy was loose from a mental hospital. My scariest home alone stories happened during one of the first times I was left alone as a teenager. I was left alone at home on a random Sunday when my parents brought my brother to some event. I was loving the freedom and everything was going great until I decided to leave my house to see my friend. My parents specifically told me not to leave the house, and I did anyway. Not thinking in the moment, I left my house and I completely forgot to lock the door. I came home hours later and I had a terrible gut feeling. Something felt weird and I noticed that cabinets were left open and stuff was scrambled around the house. I began to become very startled, but I didn't completely believe that someone was there because it was so quiet. I started shouting throughout the house to see if anybody was there. There was no answer. I started to feel better until my phone started ringing. I looked down and it was an unknown ID. Looking for attention, I answered the phone and I heard deep and heavy breathing. I started to get extremely scared. It felt straight out of a movie. I kept asking, "Who is this?" repeatedly until the phone hung up. 2 minutes later, I got another call and I answered to the deep breathing. It sounded like an angry voice, and I started to become impatient that they weren't saying anything. They hung up again, and I got aggravated. I got another call from the unknown ID, and the breathing started again. Out of nowhere, I heard a deep and quiet voice whisper, "I'm in the house." My heart stopped and chills ran down my spine. I've never been so scared in my life, but I acted tough, thinking it was a prank call from my friend or brother, knowing I was home alone. The caller hung up this time, and I started to hear creaking from upstairs, and suddenly I heard loud footsteps. Luckily, I heard something drop before he started sprinting downstairs. I was able to get a head start on the intruder, and I disappeared into the woods and immediately called the cop. The cops reported, and they found the door left wide open. They never found the person that snuck in, but I'm lucky to be able to share that wild story. A few years ago, my husband took an internship out of town, so I lived alone in our apartment for 3 months. One night, I came home late, around midnight, and the lights were all on. I figured I just left them on, so I turned them off and went to my room to get ready for bed. Right as I was undressing, I saw a shadow underneath the closed door, and from the other side, someone grabbed the doorknob and started jiggling it hard enough that the entire door was shaking. My cat was in the room with me and freaked. I've never seen him like that. He immediately jumped out the window. So I quietly put a bathrobe on and followed suit by jumping out the window too. We were on the ground floor. I looped around to the front of my apartment and called a friend nearby, telling him I thought someone was in my house and that I was going to search my house. And if I didn't call in 5 minutes, then he should come over and find me. I sat outside forever trying to listen through my door for anything, and finally I just used a hidden spare key to go inside. I grabbed a butcher knife from the kitchen and went room to room and found nothing except my bedroom door was now wide open. I didn't sleep well at all that night.